advised by your doctor. Don't use it. Coming to the antiviral therapy, there is no concrete evidence to support that. There is an NEJM, a study published in NEJM, but they could not conclude it conclusively that yes, if you go for the antiviral therapy, it has some role. There is another, many of the trials going on, but yes, we need to base, wait for the right evidence so that we can prescribe or we can write as a therapeutic option or as a prophylactic as far as the COVID-19 infection is concerned. Next. So these are the, various study which was, general e-proof, and in vitro study, they have shown many promising results, but as far as the human trials is concerned, they have not shown much benefit. Next. This is again a randomized trial. I was talking about hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, but yes, they have reported there is a very high incidence of QT prolongation and chances of ventricular arrhythmia is very high. Next. Next. So this is another trial I was talking about, lopinavir and ritonavir, hospitalized with severe COVID-19. Next. So these are the National Task Force for COVID-19 recommendation by ICMR, and they have clear-cut who are the individual who are eligible for this, prophylaxis. So asymptomatic healthcare workers involved in care of suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19, or asymptomatic household contact of laboratory confirmed cases. The doses they have kept it for 400 milligram on day 1, which is you have to take 12 hours interval, and then for the healthcare workers you have to continue it for another 7 weeks, and the schedule will be 1 400 milligram tablet every weekly, and this you have to continue for 3 weeks if you are a household contact of the COVID-19. Next. So cancer patient, what are the problems? So everybody should try all the steps which can prevent the infection, but you need to take extra steps for cancer patient. What extra step? Apart from the general maintaining the hand hygiene, respiratory hygiene, you need to just make themselves aware that they need to worry, but they have to be extra cautious that yes, they don't have to see much of the social media, otherwise that may cause them in panic, and ultimately they might have something else which they need to be corrected. Decision making is very important, but at this point of time everybody is confused, because we always say our patient that if you have any difficulty, don't give break to your treatment, otherwise it has a poor outcome. And nowadays when patient is coming back and asking to us that what is the fate of our treatment, we are our radiotherapy due, we have a surgery due, so what is the right action at this point of time? All the guidelines says that there is no need to delay the cancer treatment, but apart from the hospital facility which is not working properly right now, every hospital is giving only the emergency services, and everybody is in preparation for the COVID-19, the futuristic figures which they might see, and everybody is preparing for that. Everybody is arranging the ventilation, they are making the different COVID hospitals. In that situation, patient travels so long to get the treatment, either surgery, radiotherapy, or chemotherapy. So in that circumstances, it's not only the availability of the doctors or the machine, the rest of the factor which you are dependent on, it's very difficult to manage. Somebody has to travel 1,000 kilometers, roads are blocked, flight is not operating, trains are closed. So how somebody will even you reach Delhi, where will you stay? What about the food? And there's many associated factors which is making whole of the system, it's not functioning properly right now. So what is the right piece of advice? I don't know what to say about this thing. Suppose you have to get operated from your, some surgery is going to happen. And if you require 4 units of blood, at this point of time, probably it's a very difficult situation when nobody will be willing to come. If they're willing, they're not allowed to come. So, what to do that? It's a very ethical concern in cancer patient. where, apart from fighting with the disease, there is a dual fight, their uncertainty about the cancer and about the situation. So this is adding too much, and probably no doctors is having the right answer, what to suggest, what to tell. Guideline says you don't need to delay it, you said just go ahead with that. But is it possible at this point of time with the circumstances? Everybody understand it's not possible. So you have to make an individual approach. People are coming with the telemedicine facility, but everybody knows that telemedicine is a good, coping up mechanism. You can tell your patient that don't fear, take yourself cool, and but you can't deliver radiotherapy on telemedicine platform. You can't give, chemotherapy with the help of telemedicine. So ultimately, they have to come, because it's a multi department approach where you treat a cancer patient. Cancer care provider needs to worry, and as a doctor, we need to worry about ourselves, and we need to follow strict price policy at your workplace, so that patient should not come to you directly. Otherwise, if you follow that, yes, patient is telling that I have the, fever, then you start wearing the mask. If the patient says I have a respiratory distress, then you're searching for the gown. Already you are too late. So probably if you don't get the PPE as per your area of work, you have all the right to refuse your duty, and probably everybody should do that, because ultimately you can't correct the thing retrospectively if you are exposed and you are having the infection. So apart from maintaining all the hygiene, PPE as per level of care is your right, and you must fight for this. Next. So this is the healthcare workers in COVID, and I know healthcare workers are working from frontline workers. So it is very, very, it's shown in many of the studies. If you see the total number of confirmed cases, you will see many of the patients has acquired the infection from the hospital. And being a healthcare professional, our stay at hospital is maximum. So in many of the studies, most of the studies, you will see that large number of healthcare professionals who are infected with virus. Next. So these are the transmission-based precaution: contact, droplet, and airborne. And these are the 3 level of precaution you need to take, and everybody should be aware about this. Next. So for a suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19, you have to take the standard precaution that you're taking: hand washing, everything, sanitizer. Then contact precaution you have to take. Apart from this, you need to take the droplet precaution, use the N95 mask or surgical mask. But if you are doing any procedure which is aerosol generating, apart from this precaution, you need to take the airborne precaution, which is PPE3. You need to wear the, you have to cover your head, you have to use the goggles, you have to use the shoe cover, you used to have the gown. So these are the, recommendation by the WHO. They have told what is at what level of work, what kind of PPE is required to save your life. Next. Next. Can I get the next slide? So these are some questions to consider about the patient. What is the definition criteria for the disease? What is the infectious agent, mode of transmission? What kind of procedure you want to take? What is the risk of contamination? Where is the patient located? And what kind of PPE should be used as per your area of work? Next. General principle of the PPE: hand hygiene should always be performed. Remove and replace, if necessary, any damaged and broken pieces if you find in your PPE. Remove all PPEs as soon as possible after completing the care, and discard all item. If you must learn how to use the PPE, how to take out the PPE, and the most important, how to discard the PPE. And once any PPE, the duration is 4 hours. If you're working more than 4 hours, you need to change it again to have the maximum protection. Next. So this is again, what kind of PPE you have to use. as per all of your area of work, like tries and hygiene you have to maintain, and medical mask, which is surgical mask, is more than enough. If you're collecting the samples, if you are the healthcare facility admission, no aerosol generating procedure, and if you are doing the aerosol generating procedure, what all kind of things are required to bear. Next. So these are the WHO guideline. What should be the content of the standard PPE? Next. So published data on cancer, what they have published, and I will say that this is a good opportunity to publish the paper on this topic, because if you see today, expert testimony is the worst form of evidence. But in today's era, where COVID-19 is a pandemic and people are not having much of the evidence, even one case, two cases, and three cases are being published in a journal like JAMA. So I will request everybody, whatever evidence you have, whatever idea you have related to the delivery system, related to the management, related to the chemotherapy, what problem you are having right now, please just document, try to document it and try to publish it. You just try to send it, and I'm sure that your experience will be counted as a important consideration for every journal, because people want to learn the experience of any country, what they're encountering right now, and the rest of the world can learn from their experience, because there's a new disease and nobody is having much more idea except the China and now Italy, and which has seen it. But yes, China has published maximum number of patients in various journals, and their paper are coming at regular interval. So their literature is the only available literature on the where you can learn a lot. Hello. Can you get the next one? Yes, so this is a first study they published in, and they talked about the mortality and related to the age, and they have found that older age people are more at risk to develop the poor, the serious or adverse reaction, adverse events or the critical events, and they have the poorer outcome. So isolation of the patients and the antiviral therapy has some role to play. Next slide, please. This is another, Liang et al. They have included almost 18 cancer patients out of 1590 total patients they have considered for evaluation out of more than 28,000 patients. So they have talked about what is they have considered that the patient who are coming with cancer, the chances of developing the adverse effect in terms of ICU admission and the mechanical ventilation was almost twice in cancer patients when they were compared with the patients who were not having cancer. Next, please. This is another one, and probably they have also reported that yes, chances of getting the adverse coronavirus infection was seen twice in cancer patients when they're compared with the other patient. Next. Next one. So this is again, by the how to manage the cancer care during the COVID-19 pandemic. They have shown this is Seattle, US, they have come with the guideline, and they have told that yes, you need to maintain the hygiene, you need to perform the isolation, you have to identify the cases, and then you have to treat them, the positive cases, and you need to, treat as far as the cancer related guideline. They have clear cut said there is no such guideline which says, and they have recommended not to delay your treatment, but yes, for the people who are elderly, the people who are with all other comorbidities, they need to take extra care and they need to consult their care providers before visiting the hospital. If you can delay the treatment, if you can delay your scheduled appointment, this will be good until if you don't have any problem or it is not affecting your cancer and it is not progressing. Next slide. So this is again, this is one publication from the Italy that talks about the colorectal cancer, how the colorectal cancer is affected in Italy, and they have clearly shown that with this thing, clinical trial is a major area which is affected because now patient that colorectal cancers 40% in the localized disease where surgery is the mainstream of the treatment. But yes, during this time where everything has been stopped, how can you expect that cancer surgery will take place? So this is affecting the overall situation, outcome related to the disease, outcome related to the trial. And they have compared with the US, where you see 150,000 new colorectal cancer cases, and 40% is localized. And they have considered if this 2 months, March and April, if you take, there will be 25,000 colorectal patients which will be affected, and 40%, almost 10,000 people where surgery has been delayed due to this pandemic, and nobody knows what will be the outcome for those patients which were scheduled for the surgery. Next slide, please. So this is again the COVID-19 infected patient retrospective case study, again from China. Next. There's again study from China. You can go online, and they're and most of the study, very less number of, original study. Most of the study which has been published, either correspondence, commentary, letter to editor. Now you can understand the good journal like Lancet Oncology, JAMA. They're publishing correspondence. They are publishing your thought in form of correspondence. They are publishing your thought, your challenges, your dilemma in form of commentary. So this is a good time. Next. Next slide, please. There's a study again published on lung cancer. Next slide is nothing. This is a repetition. Next slide, please. So the question comes to India: are we testing enough? Probably more than 130 government and the private labs now working to increase the total number of testing. But in spite of all the efforts, they have been testing almost 6,000 patients per day. So as per the ICMR said that we can test 10,000 process 10,000 samples per day, but it's not getting converted. You see the other country, Germany has now started testing 5 lakh people per week. So we are ahead, and until and unless we test it, we just try to find the positive. Probably we can't press the contact. So currently, in spite of knowing what is the current number of the patient, we are unable to find what is the actual number that COVID-19 positive people are having. We are having. So we need to test more. Next. Next, please. So the power of social distancing. Many of the people criticize it, and many people don't understand that what is this. But many of the countries has really done so well as far as to prevent the community spread. So suppose as a simple example, if one person infects 2.5 people, understanding the reproduction power of this virus, then if you just keep on going, you will be infecting around 406 people in 30 days. If your exposure is 50% less, then in 5 days you will be just half of this 1.25 people. In next 30 days, you will be able to infect any positive patient, 15 people. If your exposure is 75% less, now you can understand this is 5 days, 0.625. So in 30 days, 2.5 people will be infected from one person who is infected. So at this point of time, we're having 100% lockdown. So probably this will turn into a very good outcome, and we will be having less number of cases, and we won't be able to see that peak which another country is experiencing right now. Next. This is another graph where they have counted that if you adopt the social distancing for the longer period of time, probably you can reduce the number of infection from any respiratory tract infection. Next. So this is the effect of lockdown. This is the statistical calculation. What kind of lockdown is the most important and the most effective? You must have read this through your WhatsApp or the Facebook messages. They have recommended 49 days continuous lockdown is the best one where you can get to baseline from the peak. Otherwise, if you continue again the normal life after 21 days, it will again go to peak and nobody can estimate that at what time it will come down. If you again do the 21 days, after gap of 28 days, it will come down, then again go up. So rather than experiencing, break in between 21 days, 28 and 18 days, you will have the same kind of effect by doing the lockdown for continuous 49 days. Next. So this is a typical line. When you see, go and read your Parks test book, they have, what very beautiful, what is the epidemiological effects of any kind of pandemic. So they have written that symptomatic cases were isolated within 5 days occurred, and children are rarely affected by SARS, and which is very true because, in today's era, we have seen children are infected very less, and only 3 deaths has been reported in children due to COVID-19. Next. So this is another prolonged presence of SARS-CoV-2 viral RNA in the fecal sample, but they could not correlate how it is related to the, positivity, viral RNA positivity, duration of the symptoms. But yes, they are, correlated with patient is on antiviral load. They're correlated with a decrease in the viral load if they're on antiviral therapy. Next. So why we are certainly talking about coronavirus, because it's a very positive justification that as a doctor we see almost 7.5 lakh cancer people are dying in this country. And if you see the tobacco related deaths, 15 lakhs people are dying every year. If you see the death due to the pollution, 6 to 7 million people are dying worldwide, and maximum contribution are from country like India, which is a developing country. So probably when this corona pandemic will be over, we need to retrospect ourselves and design our strategy prospectively. That this is a one thing, but can we have the same approach and same dedication and sincerity to work on the other factors which is causing more mortality than COVID-19? Next one. So this is the part of my publication that I will tell Sukriti to share with you. You will find, various mythbusters that, and if you have any question, any query, please go to the any myth-related information. So go to the WHO site. You will find a mythbuster section where you can find the right information. They have, very nicely narrated the various kind of myths and misinformation around the world, and they have, just countered with the factual position. Next. So high temperature, many of the people are talking about the high temperature, high humidity do have the effect. Even in the mythbuster, WHO said it has no effect. But recently on March 9, there's a published article from China which says that yes, person to person transmission, it doesn't affect you. But yes, as far as the transmission of COVID-19 aerosol, it decreases with the high temperature and high relative humidity. Probably that will be a good savior for us where we have the high temperature and high relative humidity. So if this happens and there's a real sense, probably we'll get the most of the benefit from this factor. Next. So epidemic in India corrected, probably we are just not doing that bad. Many of the country reported their first case, like US on 23rd January, Italy on 31st January, and India reported its first case on 29th of January. But you see the number of cases, it's a great variation, and probably we are very lucky Nobody can tell what is the factors which helped us, but if it happens and it continues, I think it will be a big relief for all of us. Next. So will India be affected? So factors which will determine the fate of this virus infection and the mortality for us: screening at entry point, contact tracing, quarantine, testing, isolation of the positive patients, infection control and prevention in hospital, and spread and transmission capacity. Next. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So this is the paper they will share, and you can read it. In case you have any question, my email is there. You can just write to me, and I will try to help you. And I think I will share a few others that we published, 2 or 3 blogs. So, and another 2 papers I will share with Sukriti, and we can just circulate in you. So next one. Thank you for patient listening. Next one. This is the last slide, and whatever our Honorable Prime Minister had said, we must follow it sincerely related to this important information. Corona koi rog par na niklo. So this is a very isolation is the best way where we can prevent the spread of infection and can help the government to counter the community transmission. Thank you very much. Sukriti, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Abhishek. A big round of virtual applause for Dr. Abhishek. That was a fantastic presentation, and I think we've all learned so much. Thank you so much, and I will share the copy of the paper with everybody. I'm opening the floor to questions now, and I already have a couple. So, Dr. Abhishek, Deepak has asked, what is the probability, or is there any data on how many patients?
I can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Please repeat it again.
Sure. I hope you can hear me now. Deepak has a question.
Yeah.
What is the probability of a patient getting corona a second time? Is there any data on that?
Yeah, because many of the people have seen. Anybody can't tell you what is the probability, but it has seen that it doesn't give you immunity that you can't be infected again. Many of the people went home and they were declared your test is negative. Now you can go home. But again, in the contact, they developed this corona again and they were admitted again. So it may be because we have very less of information, whether it was related to the sensitivity and specificity of the test that enables them to diagnose it and you just the results, or this is because we don't know anything, much about this virus, but still today it can infect you again. You are not immune if you are infected once. You can have it.
There was a recent paper from China that said as high as 14% of patients were found to be reinfected. Do they get the same severity of disease, or is it just that they have a viral load?
But probably, I don't think so. Okay, this is 14% they're reinfected because in many of the cases they have tested positive, and it's all about testing. What kind of testing you are doing? I have seen many of the patients which when found positive, then negative, then again positive. So you count it as a same disease, or you count it reinfected? Because patients were in isolation. So many patients in India also, they were found positive in 2 tests, and 3rd test was negative, then 4th time were counted positive. So specificity and sensitivity of the test is too much, questions, because right now we are coming with ICMR has given 20 companies, and they're coming with, and nobody has, done it. So probably it will take time to come up with something which will give you more accurate result with high sensitivity and high specificity.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. What is your recommendation for a patient? I mean, for a cancer patient who was diagnosed and planned for surgery. You are saying mostly about the patient with COVID, but non-COVID patient, we have taken a proper history.
Okay, so I am talking about non-COVID, sir, because there is a COVID patient and cancer patient. There is no such guideline because, in non-COVID patient, if you can maintain an isolation for your patient, because, everybody knows that nosocomial infection is very common in our setup. So it is a very general precaution for any time, not during this COVID time, but they visit the hospital if they are infected. Probably their chances of getting the adverse form of the disease is higher to the normal individual. So there is always, warning that yes, you have to take an individual decision. But yes, there is no recommendation because always consider that cancer surgery is an emergency surgery because it helps you to, give life to a patient. So you should not delay it. You should not delay it. You should go ahead with that if you can maintain, because nowadays you can't put 5 or 6 people in a ward like we used to do it before. So if you have a private room or if you have the bigger ward, you need to maintain a distance of 2 meters, which is again very arbitrary. Some people say it 1 meter. UK say it is 2 meter. America in every guideline they have maintained it 1.8 meter. If you see Australia, they have maintained it 1.5 meter. So if you have the proper arrangements where you can prevent the spread of infection, you can go ahead with that. But the problem is that and you have to just do the trials. You have to take the proper history. Patient is asymptomatic, or there is a thought in many of the papers they have written. It will be a good idea to go for the COVID testing before taking your patient for the surgery. But probably right now we are having crunch of testing kits for the people who are symptomatic. It's not readily available. One to get, and this you can't do it because it won't be readily available at your place. So there is no such recommendation which tells that no, you can't do surgery. If you do surgery, but yes, you have to take extra precaution for the spread of infection because today's nobody is knowing that what is the contact history of the another person who is sitting in the next bed in a ward. So you must avoid this at this point of time.
Thank you so much, sir. It cleared all my doubts. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Dr. Shankar, there is a question from Dr. Shefali Desai who is asking, should we operate on a cancer patient or is it a good idea to wait for 2 weeks considering it is not an emergency, might be a semi-emergency? I think she is referring to non-cancer related operations.
Non-cancer related operation can always wait because there's nothing called emergency, but you have to be very calculative when you're treating the cancerous thing. And suppose if somebody is a hormone positive breast cancer, at this point of time you can offer her the hormonal treatment and tell her to wait for 15 days, 20 days, doesn't matter. But if patient who is a pancreatic patient, in 15 days everything can be changed. You can't delay it. But for the non-cancerous, which is elective surgery, you can always wait. This is not the right time to operate. You should not try.
Great, thank you. Another question is.
Thank you, Sukriti. Thank you, sir. That was a great help. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Desai. Another question we have from Dr. Bakre is, if patients were undergoing chemotherapy before this outbreak hit, should they move the chemotherapy date or continue as scheduled?
This is a good question, and you should give chemotherapy because in many of the times, like patient is having febrile neutropenia, patient hemoglobin is less. So weight of 7 to 10 days we encounter in our day-to-day life. It's not a big deal, but it may be extended to 14, 15 days. But if everything is normal, you must give chemotherapy to the patient. You should not break the chain, but yes, you have to take this extra precaution that we don't used to take previously, Because we used to give chemotherapy in the ward, but if you have the isolation, if you have the separate room, you can minimize the entry of the patient. Those who are coming with the patient, they have to adopt the precaution which is advised by the WHO. So there is no harm, you can go ahead with that. So there is nothing, there is no recommendation that you should stop it. But yes, you have to take extra precaution if patient is elderly, and you need to know the status of the patient. Patient is not having symptom, that is for sure. You have to find the contact history. That we never ask anybody that you have somebody who is having fever, cough, or any has a travel history, you have come in contact with them. So these are the extra exercise somebody has to do. You have to ask 2-3 extra questions to understand that yes, patient has not come in contact with anybody who is COVID positive, and patient is not symptomatic. With taking extra precaution, you can deliver chemotherapy. There is no need to, and we have even 2-3 patients we have advised in last 2-3 days. After I had a program on NDTV, many people have asked me, and we have arranged, coming to and traveling to different places is difficult right now. That is making situation more worse, not because of the doctor in the hospital. They are supportive, they are trying to help, but how to commute, how to get accommodation, from where to get the food, that is a problem.
Thank you so much. I think that was a very clear answer. Continue chemotherapy as far as possible. Dr. Kiran Shankar has a question. Dr. Kiran Shankar, if you're online, could I ask you to frame your question again, please? It says, when met with a cancer patient, unless it's a major surgery, I don't see a reason why one should defer the therapy or surgery. Is that right, Dr. Kiran?
What is this? Hello?
Dr. Kiran Shankar has left a comment which says, unless it's a major surgery that's planned, he doesn't see a reason why the surgery or therapy should be deferred.
Yes, because there is no something, because you just understand the mindset of the cancer patient. As a doctor, we tell them always, don't delay, don't make excuses. And now we are telling them there is a and it is always related to survival. Every people who are practicing oncology, they understand what is the value of time, what is the value of treatment completion. It's necessary that another precaution you can continue in cancer patient.
So can I ask one question?
Yes, sir, please.
Sir, there are many concerns about the air conditioning system in major OT complexes. I do operate in a 15 set of operation theater in a setup. So is there any recommendation that this aerosol spread and air conditioning and
Sir, if you have a positive patient, or if you have anybody who is having the symptom, in those circumstances, anyway you delay your surgery. If some patient is symptomatic, having cough and the respiratory issues, you never perform surgery. So same thing you have to follow there. If patient is asymptomatic, he is having no problem after going through he is not a contact history, nobody has traveled from outside, probably that is more than enough. And that is way, because
theater structure. I mean, is there any problem in operating a patient? I mean, in multiple OT complex where multiple OTs are functioning?
No, sir, there is no problem, because if you know the history of a patient whom you think that there is no contact history, there is no problem, and you should minimize and you should now restrict, because every patient, to prevent the infection, because somebody is having, if you have come to know after 4 or 5 days that yes, patient started getting symptoms, and you just send the sample and that patient become COVID-19 positive. At that time he was not having symptoms. So if you are doing it in the OT, complete OT setup, you need to fumigate the whole system. If you just do it in the close, then your rest of the part will be very easy to manage. That is what the concern is. Like for the radiotherapy, we are having too much issues, because one patient is positive after every, you have to just fumigate the whole system. So that is what. So you can minimize it by keeping the isolation, keeping the safe distance. You can minimize all this, which is recommended now.
Thank you,
So
sir.
apart from other universal precaution, you have to take extra as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. You have to just add that.
Thank you, sir.
Final-
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes,
Please
sir.
go ahead.
Hello.